I'm at Concaves, and today I want to show you our new split frame John Deere Concave. We developed this concave so it'll be a lot easier to put in the combine. It's a lot lighter because you don't have any components in here as of yet. And once you get this frame into the concave or into the combine, you're never going to take it out again. And for the new combines, this is very good because with the new ones, you have to recal when you change concaves. And it can be expensive if you have to get a tech out to do it and time consuming. So with this one, you're going to have the frame in. And once you get it in there, you're able to slide in your concaves. So to put the concaves in, it's just a matter of sliding them in like that. That's all there is to putting it in, and there's two bolts that hold it in place. As you can see, there's a bar there. This bar helps guide it into the dowel pins. These dowel pins are what the concaves sit on the metal. So once you get the concave sitting on the bar, it just slides in there. There's two bolts that go on this side, and that's all there is to changing the concaves. So it's pretty nice when you're changing from wheat to canola or wheat to corn or whatever you're doing. You can leave the frame in, and you never have to take it out again. And it's just a matter of pulling these concaves out and putting in a different one. A few other features on this. The frame we've doubled up, it's thicker. So we didn't want to have any frame failure, so we doubled the thickness of it. And so far we haven't had any stress problems. They've been doing very well. On the far end over here, there's a keeper that holds it into your combine. And you're able to use the John Deere keeper that was with your other concaves. But we had guys telling us on the factory ones, this end was spreading a little bit, and they'd lose the keeper and they'd have to shut down to go get another one. So all we did instead of reinventing the keeper was to put bolts in here, and it just squeezes it so that you never lose it. It's a quick, easy fix. It's very simple, just 2 3/8 bolts. So these concaves that we're putting out here, we have different sizes, and this one is called a 225. As you can see the number on the end, it's stamped on there, and we have other various ones here that I'll talk about in a second. And the 225 represents the gap between the bars. These bars are thrashing way harder than any wire concave. And on a wire concave, the gap between the wires is 1/4 inch, 0.25. So this one is 0.225. It's almost the very same as a factory one for the gap between. But this piece of flat iron on the grate holds the material better and thrashes it harder. This will thrash way harder than any wire concave. The wires, stuff tends to roll off it, and you get escapes and you get white caps in the hopper. With this flat bar on there, it'll hold it a little bit better, thrashes it out. With this 225, it's meant to do wheat, and even in flax, you'll see no flax balls in the hopper with this concave. So we have various other concaves that we have. And in the second position, the one that would be behind this, we'll typically run a little wider concave. And it's called a 375, which you can see on the sticker there. And when you see the two compared side by side, you'll see the difference in the gap between them. So this one's thrashing it hard, and we want to get as much grain out in the front as we can. And then when it hits the second position, which would typically be in the second concave, we'd have a 375 in there, and that's going to release a lot of grain out of there. You want to get 90% of the grain out of there in the first two concaves, or else you're going to get rotor loss. It's going to load the sieves wrong. It's really important to get that grain out of there as quick as possible. On some farms, they're growing a lot easier to thrash wheat now, and they're going away from the 225 because they want to get more grain out at the very front. So they'll run, instead of the 225, they run what we call a 300, which is this one here. And you'll see the gap is slightly larger than this. And we run that in the front for the guys that are going all easy to thrash and probably not growing any flax. And this one works very well. It'll work good in barley where this is maybe just a little tight. It's important to get that grain out, I said. In the first two concaves, you want 90% out, or it's going to cause rotor loss, sieve loss, all kinds of So that was the 300. If you're going to make a great big one, It's called a 437. And guys are using this for chickpeas. Sometimes they're using it for canola. They're using it for a few different crops. But chickpeas, faba beans, they're using this big wide one. And it definitely lets material out of the rotor in a hurry. When we go to canola, we're pulling the front ones out and we're putting in a slotted concave in the front. And we've been using that slotted concave for a lot of years, and it's been a very good concave. The slotted concave will let the canola out of the very front of the cylinder, sorry. And the sooner you can let that canola out of there, the less chance it has of getting all mixed up with all the ground up chaff. And with this, there's no bars on it, so it doesn't over thrash the pods and the stalks. And it's a lot easier to separate pods from canola than it is from chaff from canola. And this, with everything falling through at the very front, it's on the grain pan, it's out of the rotor, and you can deal with it. If it's going around and around on the rotor and it's getting dropped on the wrong side, or maybe going right out the rotor, it just causes loss. A lot of the combines we see and go to, they're throwing out between 1 and 3 bushel. You throw a set of slots in there, and that usually goes to less than half a bushel. And you don't change any settings, just carry on the way you are. That slot is a remarkable concave. Also, you'll find that you can run a higher rotor speed, and when you get a higher rotor speed, you're going to get more ground speed, so you get more capacity. It's a very, very good concave. When the shatter-resistant canola came out, it gave us a bit of grief because you can see there's no bars in here. And some of that canola needs to be just beat up a little bit. And if you're running your ordinary 225s or whatever you have in there, or your regular factory ones with wires and bars in it, you're going to find that you over-thrash it, overloading on the sieve. So we came up with a new one, and this is something we're pretty excited about. This concave we called a finger grate. And as you can see, it has lots of holes, but it has a few bars on it, and they're wider than a normal concave. They're a little bit wider. And so it's going to bang those pods up just enough to let them go. It's not going to over thrash too much. There's lots of holes to let it out. But the part that we found that was pretty interesting was guys got using them this year, and they were using it in corn, sunflowers, oats, barley, beans, peas, canola. So it's quite a concave. You can use it for a lot of crops. And it's been working very well, and we're going to start marketing it this next year. We just let out a limited amount this year to try, and the results were very good. Like I said, this is a split frame concave that we made for the John Deeres. It makes changing concaves so much easier, and you're able to switch in just a matter of minutes. It usually takes longer to find your proper socket and wrenches than it does to change the concaves. And with that, I think I'm going to shut this video down, and if there's any questions, give us a call. And I'm Murray Skaman, and we'll talk to you later.